Hello everyone! If you're eager to learn about the new upcoming characters in Genshin Impact, including Chasca, Mavuika, Citlali, Capitano, and Columbina, you've come to the right place. In this video, we'll explore all the upcoming characters in the Natlan lineup, including their kits and projected release dates. Let's start with the usual disclaimer. Everything mentioned here is based on speculation and is subject to change, so keep that in mind as we dive in. First, in patch 5.1, the only new character making her debut is Xilonen. Her banner has already been officially announced in the 5.1 livestream, alongside Chiori. If you missed that, the banners for patch 5.1 will feature Xilonen and Chiori in the first half, while Nahida and Hu Tao will appear in the second half. Xilonen's banner is set to go live on October 9th for the Asia servers and October 8th for the Americas. Many players are already aware of Xilonen's capabilities and how incredibly powerful she is, so let's quickly move on to the characters debuting in patch 5.2. In patch 5.2, we can expect to see two new characters, Chasca and Ororon. Chasca will be a limited 5-star unit, while Ororon will be introduced as a new 4-star unit featured on Chasca's banner in the first half of the patch. While we don't have extensive information on their kits just yet, we do have some intriguing details. Chasca is an Anemo-type character wielding a bow, serving as the main DPS for her team. In my last video, I mistakenly referred to her as a sword user, so I apologize for the mix-up. Her kit revolves around swirling various elements, such as Pyro, Cryo, Hydro, and Electro, with Anemo, allowing her to gain significant buffs, along with elemental infusion, whenever she swirls an element. There are also rumors suggesting that Chasca will possess the ability to fly in the overworld, similar to Wanderer. If this turns out to be accurate, Chasca could become one of the best units for exploration. However, it's worth noting that during patch 4.4, several sources claimed that Xian Yun would have the ability to fly, which ultimately proved to be false. Therefore, it's wise to take this information about Chasca with a grain of salt. Now, turning our attention to Ororon, we know he will also wield a bow and will be an Electro-type character, but details about his kit are currently limited. Personally, I hope he turns out to be a decent off-field Electro applier. His design is appealing, and I'd prefer not to have another on-field 4-star DPS character. Both Chasca and Ororon are expected to be released on the same banner around November 20th, when patch 5.2 goes live, although this timeline is contingent on the patch schedule remaining consistent. Moving on to version 5.3, many players are excited because this patch will finally introduce the Pyro, Archon, Mavuika, and Citlali. Current speculations suggest that both will be limited 5-star units, with Mavuika appearing in the first half and Citlali in the second half of patch 5.3. Archons typically debut in the first half of a patch, and since the Natlan Archon quest is slated to conclude in version 5.3 rather than 5.2, Mavuika's introduction makes a lot of sense. We have a bit of kit information for these characters as well. According to reliable sources, Mavuika will not be a 5-star version of Xiangling or Bennett, but rather a 5-star equivalent of Dihya. When she uses her skill, she will have two options. The tap version summons minions on the field that deal pyro damage, while the hold version grants her pyro infusion and damages enemies without summoning minions. Although the details are still vague, we can reasonably expect Mavuika to have a powerful kit, especially since she is an Archon. As for Citlali, she is anticipated to be a Cryo-type unit wielding a catalyst, acting as a sustainer while also providing off-field Cryo application. Reports suggest that Citlali's kit will resemble an upgraded version of Layla's kit, complete with robust shield capabilities. Personally, I hope Citlali is not a 4-star character. Her design is fantastic, and I want to ensure I can obtain her on her debut banner. The idea of a Cryo character getting a rerun feels like a myth these days. Just look at the wait for Shenhe's rerun, which was last seen in version 3.5! If the patch schedule holds, Mavuika's banner is set to go live on January 1st, with Citlali following in the second half on January 22nd. Let's now take a glance at the characters lined up for version 5.4. This patch is expected to introduce only one new character, Madame Ping. You might wonder if an older character like Madame Ping will become playable. And while it's unlikely that her current old form will be the one we can play, there is speculation that her younger form, first shown during the 3.4 Lantern Rite cutscene, will be introduced. For now, all we know is that Madame Ping will be a Hydro-type unit using a polearm, with a playstyle reminiscent of Xiao's plunge attacks, suggesting she could synergize well with Xianyun. I'm genuinely excited for Madame Ping, even though her release is still some time away. Hopefully, her kit will be robust. Now, let's address the potential playability and release dates for characters like Capitano and Columbina. Recent information from various sources suggests that Capitano will not be playable during the Natlan arc. However, there's a caveat. These sources aren't regarded as particularly reliable by the community. Many players might recall instances where we were told Arlecchino wouldn't be playable during the Fontaine arc, and we all know how that turned out. So, the key takeaway here is to remain cautious about the current information surrounding Capitano. If he does become playable during the Natlan arc, we should expect more reliable information by patches 5.3 or 5.4. As for Columbina, while numerous sources indicate she will be playable during the Natlan arc, I remain skeptical. Based on the Fatui wheel, it's evident that Columbina will be featured as a Harbinger boss fight. However, this does not guarantee her playability. She hasn't made an appearance in the Archon quests yet, and if she does show up in future Natlan versions, we will likely gain reliable insights regarding her release date. Still, I genuinely hope she becomes playable soon because I want both her and Capitano on my account right now. In summary, we've covered a lot of ground regarding upcoming characters from versions 5.1 to 5.4. I'm particularly curious to know who you're most excited about. For me, the character I'm most looking forward to is Mavuika. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing for more content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.